Okay, so the center double decrease. I'm going to show it first over Western oriented stitches, which these are, leading leg in front, trailing leg in back, for context, and so I have something to compare to. Okay, so the regular center double decrease, you slip 2 knitwise together. That puts this center stitch in front, and you knit the 3rd stitch and then pass the 2 over, which is fine. I like to do a little bit of a shortcut, which it makes a functionally identical stitch. There's no particular reason to do or not do it this way. I just like to do it this way. I slip the 2 knitwise together, and then I slip the 3rd stitch knitwise, and I have them all on my right hand needle. I stick my left needle back in, and I knit the 3 together. Okay, that's identical. It's just a little bit different in the working. Fine. Western oriented stitches, you can basically find this instruction anywhere for the center double decrease. But what if you're doing it over Eastern stitches and you don't want the base twisted? Because if you work it over Eastern stitches and you don't do something a little different, you're going to have the base of your center stitch twisted, because you'd be approaching from the leading leg, the trailing leg, which is in front, right? Because you need the 2nd stitch to be in front, which means you have to insert your needle into it first from the front, which means you're going through the leading leg, the front leg, which is the trailing leg, because these are Eastern oriented, and that will twist the stitch, right? The legs will cross like so. So I'll show that, right? If you do it like you did the other one over Western oriented stitches, see that? That crosses the legs. And that's visually different. Here, I'll go all the way through. Right? There's a visual difference. It's kind of subtle here because these are all stretched out. But there is actually a difference between the uncrossed legs and the crossed legs. But let's get these back on needle. All right, so these are still Eastern oriented, right? Eastern oriented, leading leg in back, trailing leg in front. Well, luckily for me, this is loose enough that I can force the issue. I need this leg to be in front, and I need it to be in that relationship with the first stitch. Excuse me. Okay. Let me do that again. All right. I need to slip these 2 together knitwise, but I need to keep that leading leg in back. Right? Leading leg. Well, it needs to be in front now to get it in front of the other stitch. Let me do that one more time because I don't think I'm clear and I think I'm confusing issues. Okay, so 2 Eastern oriented stitches. Right? Nice and loose because I've been tugging at them for a while. Insert your needle into the 2nd stitch, into that leading leg that's in the back, and pull it to the front so you can get it in front of the 1st stitch. Go into the leading leg of the 1st stitch and pull them both off. Okay. You actually don't have to go into the leading leg of the 1st stitch, but might as well. You don't have to because it'll be blocked by this 1st stitch, but you know, whatever. Do it or not. I think it's easy enough to do it. Then you can either slip this one and knit the 3 together, or you can knit it and pass the 2 slip stitches over. But other than a tension difference, because I've been yanking at this one for ages, they're functionally the same. Now, there is another situation you might be in where you would need, where you say you knit Western, say your stitches are always Western oriented, even when you're on the purl side, right? You purl Western. But say you need to do a center double decrease from the purl side. See, this is where that whole needing to move things around part actually is handy. Let me work all the way to the end because I actually need a little bit of stuff on the edge to be able to hold this swatch in place. Okay, so you're going along, purling like you normally do. These are Western purls. You get to your decrease point, but you're on the back and you're purling. And if you slip to purlwise like this, the wrong stitch will be in front. You've entered the first stitch first. That would be in front. It would lean. You don't want that. So you need the second stitch to be the first one your needle goes into. But if you slip it from the back, you have now twisted that stitch. Don't believe me? Try it. So you need to slip these two purlwise with this stitch, the second stitch, leg in back, because you want the knit side to be the front of the work, right? So you pull that leg to the back, and then you stick your needle into the leading leg of the first stitch, and if you pull the two off, then you have the correct relationship to then slip this one also, and then purl the two together, and then I'm gonna just do this so I have something to hold on to, and then I can turn it around, and voila, no twisting in the base. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but these stitches are slightly out of order underneath. When you come from this direction, right, if you're knitting in that direction, then the order is middle, first, third. When you're coming from this direction, it's still middle, first, third, except that this stitch on this side is the first, instead of this side being the first. So the stacking order is different, but you can't tell because they're being blocked. The top, where you might notice the stacking, is being blocked by the center stitch. So it doesn't matter. And I know this because I made a whole cardigan for myself where every 7 stitches I had to do a center double decrease from both sides. Hope that helps.